Hi, and welcome to First Fruits Physical Therapy. The purpose of today's video is to show you how to measure for a wheelchair. The first measurement is always going to be the width of the chair. Width of the chair is measured from outside seat rail to outside of the opposite seat rail. So in this case, it's 18 inches. Next measurement is seat depth. Seat depth is measured from the front of the back post to the front edge of the seat sling, this being the seat sling. In this case, it's a 16. So this wheelchair would be referenced as a wheelchair size 18 wide by 16 deep, or 18 by 16 wheelchair. The next measurement often taken is the front seat height. The front seat height is the height from the floor to the top of the seat rail at the front edge of the seat sling. So in this case, the front seat to floor height is 18 inches. The next measurement is the rear seat height. Rear seat height is the measure from the floor to the top of the seat rail just in front of the back post. In this case, it's 17 inches. The difference between the front seat height and the rear seat height is referred to as seat slope or inclination. In this case, there is a 1-inch seat slope or inclination. Back height is measured from the top of the seat rail just in front of the back post to the top of the seat upholstery, or the back upholstery, and that's 16 inches in this case. Another measurement that can be taken is the inside wheel clearance. The inside wheel clearance is the distance from the inside border of the wheel to the outside of the back post. In this case, it's 1 3/4 inches. In a K1 manual wheelchair, K1 and K2 manual wheelchair, usually this measurement is greater than 1 inch, as in this case. However, in a K5 wheelchair, which is the ultralight manual wheelchair, the measurement is often 3/4 to 1 inch. Another measurement is the footrest setting. Oftentimes the wheelchair order forms will ask you for the setting of the footrest. That is measured from the top of the seat sling to the top of the footrest. In this case, 17 inches. In a manual chair, in a K5 manual chair, you can often go with a folding or a rigid frame manual chair. On those chairs, what they'll ask is for whether or not you want a tapered or a V front end, or a standard front end. The standard front end will have the down tube coming, as in this case, in line with the seat rail all the way down until you reach the footrest. In a V front end, you'll have the down tube angle inward as it heads towards the footrest. So it would look like this. There is also a tapered front end. A tapered front end will start as a V front end, but then have a bend, and it brings the frame closer together as it gets closer to the foot plate. frame angle in a K5 chair, and again this is a K1 chair, so this is hard to imagine, but the frame angle would be the angle from the seat rail to the down tube. So if you can imagine that this was a rigid frame K5 chair, this tube would come up and make connection to the seat rail. This would be one bar here. And the angle, the front end angle that they're measuring is the angle right here. It's usually 70, 75, 80, 85, or 90. And that is measured with this seat rail being parallel to the floor. Okay, center of gravity is established by moving the axle plate forward or back in relation to the back post. In this case, the center of gravity is set at 0, right in line with the back post. For an active user, somebody, for example, with a thoracic level spinal injury and who uses his or her manual wheelchair quite often, that axle position is generally 2 inches in front of the back post. There's also a amputee axle plate that can often be added as well, where it puts the center of gravity behind the back post, and that would be a minus 1 or 2 inches, whereas if you bring it in front of the back post, it's referred to as a positive 1 or 2 inches. That is the completion of the measurement of a manual wheelchair. Thank you.